Hi, this is Pim from Smart Diabetics Academy. Today I will have a look at if we can reverse diabetes using apple cider vinegar. In today's video, I will share with you what use apple cider vinegar can have in reversing diabetes. And in just a second, I will also share another hack with you that you can use to deal with high blood sugar in the morning. So apple cider vinegar is just one of those things that you always hear about for blood sugar control. People swear by it, so there must be something to it, right? Actually, yes, in a sense there is. So apple cider vinegar contains a few ingredients that can be really helpful when it comes to blood sugar control. And I'm going to talk about the two major ones that have been studied and that we think most of the effect comes from. Having said that, keep in mind that as soon as you use a natural compound of some sort that contains a lot of things, there's usually a synergistic effect going on. So these two major ones that I'm going to talk about are acetic acid, which is the main component in all vinegars, and also a polyphenolic compound called chlorogenic acid. So both of these have some documented health benefits when it comes to controlling blood sugar, one of them a bit more than the other. So let's start with having a look at acetic acid. So what it does is that it inhibits an enzyme called disaccharidase. And anything that ends with ASE is an enzyme. So what this enzyme does is that it splits sugars that come in pairs. So one sugar is, if you think about normal table sugar, it is a disaccharide, which means that it consists of two sugar molecules. So one of them is a glucose and one of them is a fructose, and they link together, and what disaccharidase is doing is that it literally comes and it cuts them off in the middle, making sure that you have two simple sugars. And it's in this form that our bodies can use the sugars. As long as they are bound together, as in a disaccharide, and they link together, our bodies can't use them. So what this means is that if you inhibit this enzyme that separates these molecules from each other, we cannot digest them. So they won't be taken up by our blood, and therefore sugar won't actually increase our blood sugar, even if we eat it, because we don't have enough of this enzyme. So the inhibitory effect is obviously not 100%, so we will still get an effect from eating sugar, but it will lower it because it will inhibit some of the enzymes. And then we have something called alpha amylase. Amylase is an enzyme that breaks down starch. You have a lot of it in your saliva, for example. And it also helps breaking down stored glycogen into glucose. So it helps your body access the sugars that you have stored in your body for energy. So if we have less of alpha amylase, or this enzyme I'm talking about, your blood sugar will also go down or go up less than it normally does when you're eating something, because you don't have the capacity to release as much sugar. Okay? And another thing with acetic acid is that it can delay the emptying of the stomach. So this is a very popular term right now, but it can actually flatten the curve, and I'm talking about the blood sugar curve, nothing else here. So we get a much smaller and flatter blood sugar spike after eating. So this will lower the blood glucose levels and the insulin levels as well. So that is a very good thing. Now, this is a bit interesting though, that apple cider vinegar has a much stronger ability to lower your blood glucose and insulin levels than pure acetic acid. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So when you consume apple cider vinegar, rather than, for example, white vinegar, which is pretty much just acetic acid, you actually have an advantage there. So it's not just a myth that apple cider vinegar is a lot better than other vinegar, although other vinegar will also work, but not as well, because you have a synergistic effect from the polyphenols in there and the other acids, etc., that might not be present in, let's say, a white vinegar. So don't cheat, get the real stuff with the mother. And if you don't know what the mother is, it's the gunky stuff at the bottom of the bottle, which just indicates that, you know, it has been a live culture and it's been growing, etc. So get the good stuff. The more expensive ones, they are usually much richer in the polyphenolic compounds. So another thing, when they've tested the HbA1c on type 2 diabetics over a 12-week period, so this is 3 months that we're talking about, they found that people who are taking apple cider vinegar before or together with their meal over these 12 weeks have a reduction in their HbA1c with 0.16%. And there was, of course, a control group as well that did not consume apple cider vinegar, and they had an increase in their HbA1c with 0.06%. So it's not a lot, but it's still an increase. So there's definitely something to it. Okay, so when it comes to chlorogenic acid, this is the major polyphenolic compound that you find in apple cider vinegar. What we know is that it's taken up by the intestines very quickly. That we know for sure. We also know that when we test it on rats and in rat liver cells, it can inhibit glucose 6-phosphatase activity. So this is an enzyme that our bodies use to produce its own sugar in gluconeogenesis, and also to release sugars that are stored in our bodies. So if this is true in humans as well as rats, we would see a reduction in blood sugar. Now, I don't think there are any studies where we've taken blood liver cells and tested this. Liver cells and tested this on humans. So we can't say that this is happening for sure. Okay? Just keep that in mind. So this was rats. However, what the human studies have shown us is that in people with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes who take 20 grams of apple cider vinegar, that's roughly 4 teaspoons, together with a carbohydrate-rich meal, have an increased insulin sensitivity compared to those who are not consuming the apple cider vinegar and the same type of high carbohydrate meal. So whether this is due to the chlorogenic acid, the acetic acid, or the synergistic effect between all of the compounds in the apple cider vinegar, I don't know, but this might actually be a hack that works. However, I do not recommend that you continue eating a high carb diet and take apple cider vinegar to mitigate the effect. What I would recommend is that you try to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar before or just together with your main meal if you are struggling with blood sugar control despite being low carb, because this happens. And for some people it's this insulin resistant that is very resistant to change. It will just hang on for some time, and if that is the case for you, this might be a really good hack to use. So can apple cider vinegar reverse diabetes on its own? I do not think so, but I do absolutely think that it can be one of the many tools that we can use to reverse diabetes. But please bear in mind that it doesn't take away the root cause of your diabetes. It only helps your body to take away the immediate danger that it's in. Just like some of the diabetic medications out there, only a much healthier alternative without side effects. So this leads me into the hack that I was going to show you or tell you about, that you can prevent your blood sugar from going up too much in the morning. So what they have actually seen, they've done studies on this, is that if you're type 2 diabetic and you take 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar right before going to bed, you can reduce your fasting glucose reading in the morning. So if you're already on a low carb diet and you tried everything to get control of your morning blood sugar, just give this a try. couple of tablespoons right before you go to sleep and see what happens in the morning. And please let me know in the comments if you have already tried this or if you are going to try it, because I'm very interested in hearing about how many people would have success with this. So thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell icon down there so that you will get notified the next time that I post a video on reversing diabetes. And I will see you again tomorrow when I will talk about how we can reverse diabetes with exercise. See you there.